Hello, welcome to In a Candy Store podcast. Today's guest is Ginger Vieira. Am I saying your name right?
You are.
Oh,
Hello.
I'm so glad. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You're famous by your Instagram name, Diabetes Nerd, and I have to
Trying.
say I love it because it
Oh,
really shows your content. Your
thank
content
you.
is very nerdy, but I love it. It has so much information, so much of your personal experience. I
Thank you.
actually enjoyed watching it, I have to say. I also saw
You.
your I also
Good.
saw your YouTube, which we will talk about later, but I will link it in the description. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, where are you
Oh,
from? Where do you live? You don't have to say how old are you, but tell us just how old were
oh,
you
I will
when
tell
you
you.
were diagnosed.
Yeah, there's no shame in my age. I am 40.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
So we're
I'm
close.
40. I turned 40 last year, and I was diagnosed at 13 years old. I actually diagnosed myself based on a poster in the seventh grade health fair that my school does, and I was in the seventh grade. And my classmate did his project on type 1, or no, just on diabetes in general. And
Okay.
his poster was very simple because we're 13, right? And so one part of his poster listed all the symptoms. And I was like, I've got all of those. And I told my mom and I told my friends, and my mom was like, no way, only old people get diabetes.
Yeah,
And my
misconception.
friends were like, how's your diabetes? And like, so it was, everybody dismissed it. And then a week later, I was so sick that I was crying to my mother, like, I feel terrible. And she brought me to the doctor, and it turns out I was right.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
crazy story, I have to say. That's a really
Yeah.
crazy story. So
Yeah.
you just how were you as a kid? Do you remember your period because you were 13 years old, right? Right?
Hmm.
Do you remember your life before you were diagnosed? Like what changed at that moment?
Honestly, in terms of diabetes context, the only thing I truly remember is that I could fill my bowl with strawberry ice cream as my dessert at the end of the night every night, and I didn't have to measure it with a measuring cup. And then after my diagnosis, I continued to eat strawberry ice cream, but I had to use a measuring cup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a concrete
Yeah,
remembering.
I know. It's like the only really true thing that I can say, the
And how was
contrast.
your reaction? Because, like you said, a little, like you said, you were right. Like your mom, I was right. Was that your
Yeah.
initial reaction, or was like, oh, okay, I was right?
I mean, so yeah, I was like,
Were
hey,
you
I was
aware of
right.
the difficulty of this disease at that age?
No, no. All I knew was what was on his poster. And
No.
after I read the symptoms, I remember asking him, his name was Miles. I remember asking him, "Can you die from that?" And, again, he's 13. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, you can die from that." And that's all I knew. And right, so the
Did you know
doctor,
anybody who had type 1 at the time?
no
Oh,
one.
that was younger, not an
Nope,
adult.
I did not know a soul. Neither did my mother or my
Nobody in your
parents.
family has it.
Mm-mm, no. And I immediately they told us go home, pack a bag, and then we went to the hospital for like 3 or 4 days. And I remember sitting and crying, feeling sorry for myself in my hospital bed. And no one was around. My mom had gone to go get something. It was like day 2 or something. And I remember realizing while feeling really sorry for myself that all of my closest friends and some of the kids in my grade had been through some really challenging things. Like one of my friends had hemophilia. We had lost a friend to leukemia the year before. She died when we were in sixth grade from leukemia. I had friends who had lost parents from cancer. I had friends who struggled with depression. I had a classmate who had a brain tumor when he was 4.
Wow.
And, his life has obviously dramatically changed ever since then. And so I honestly left the hospital realizing, like, oh, really? Scary things and hard things and challenging things seem to happen to everybody, and this might be one of mine.
I have to say that's a really adult thinking for a 13-year-old.
It helped me
I
tremendously.
wouldn't say a lot of people think like that, but good for you. That's very adult.
I
Like
guess it helped me
you were very
tremendously,
mature for
right?
your age.
I guess so. And that really helped me because I didn't waste any time trying to pretend I didn't have it, trying to hate it and wish it would go away. I just learned how to manage it.
Were others around you, like your friends, your classmates, aware that you had it? That you
Oh
had,
yeah, my
sorry.
friends came and visited me in the hospital. And they eventually, over the next few months, they all practiced pricking their finger and, just so they could see what I was going through. And they learned just generally what it meant. And one of my friends picked up very quickly that if my blood sugar was high, instead of freaking out and saying, "Oh my gosh," she would just give me a high five and saying, "You're doing a great job."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You're friends with a lot of mature people, I have to say.
Yeah, they were
Or at least
amazing.
you were at that time. I don't know, are you
Yeah,
still friends now? But
I
all what you're
am. I
saying
am.
is
Yeah.
very, very mature thinking. Wow.
Yeah, they were great. I had a really great support system.
I saw your Instagram was hacked. Actually, that's in your description.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna ask what happened. Just tell me, when did you start educating people with your page? When did you
Sure.
start talking
So,
about your experience, about new research, about medications, about
yeah, I
everything? You
mean,
really talk about
honestly,
everything.
way before Diabetes Nerd. So, I started writing about diabetes when I was 20 and I'm 40.
Okay.
So I published my first book when I was like 21. It's not for sale right now. I need to rewrite it. It's so outdated, but it was called Your Diabetes Science Experiment. And I started writing for a diabetes website when I was 20. It was Health Central. I'm not sure if they still exist, but I wrote about managing diabetes in college. But I wrote my first book because in my first year of college, I didn't take very good care of myself. And by my second year of college, at the end of that year, I was like really frustrated with myself. My A1C had spiked. I wasn't feeling good. I gained weight. I just was like, ugh. And diabetes was not a priority. My health was not a priority. And I started that summer going to the gym. I started teaching myself basic weightlifting. I started going to power yoga. And I started walking every day and eating really simple things. Like I remember my lunch became like a strawberry yogurt and a bowl of frozen vegetable medley that I would just microwave. And because I was 20, I wasn't cooking. I was living between college and then going home for the summer. I spent that summer at my aunt's. And so by the end of that summer, I'd gotten much healthier. And then I hired a personal trainer and I started learning about powerlifting. And long story
I
short,
actually saw that
yeah.
reel or story. You
Yeah, it's
talked
like
about
it's so old that I
talked
don't.
about how somebody told you you can't do it and you did it.
Yes, exactly. Right.
That's
So
like a really strong spite.
yes,
That's how you call it. Yeah.
my doctor laughed at me when I asked for help while I was learning how to powerlift and manage diabetes, right? The internet did not really, there was no diabetes community back then, and we didn't have CGMs and everything. And I wrote my first book based on what I learned because that doctor did not help me. So there you go.
Very inspiring person, I have to say that.
Thank you.
So that book, is that your only book?
No, I've written now 7 books or 7 or 8. Two are for kids with type 1, and then the rest are for adults. So I wrote Dealing with Diabetes
How can
Burnout.
people buy your book? Sorry.
They're all on Amazon. So if you look up
What
ginger
about
and
if you live
diabetes,
somewhere
yeah.
that doesn't support Amazon? Like
So I
Amazon doesn't go to
self-publish.
all countries.
Yeah, no, so I self-publish through Amazon.
Okay.
Because to publish with publishers, they are going to nitpick. They're going to take forever. They're going to say there's not enough people
A
to sell
long
this book
process,
to.
right?
We don't want to bother. Yeah. So when I'm uploading a book to publish on Amazon, I'm checking the box for every country. So my books are available in most countries through Amazon self-publishing. So you just have to make sure you're on your country's Amazon, because if you
Okay.
click the link that I share, my link is for the United States Amazon, right? So they're available. They should be all over the world, but Amazon is the one that prints it. So that's really the only way to get it, unfortunately. Um,
Okay.
yeah. But I have books on dealing with diabetes burnout, pregnancy with type 1,
Well,
exercise and type 1, um, emotional and overeating during hypoglycemia in type 1. And we just published Every Day with Diabetes, which is 365 tips teaching you about different aspects of diabetes, but in one day at a time. So it's really easy to digest and take in, right? Um, I'm
So
trying to think.
you
Yeah,
really put yourself into it. Like you is that your job? Like
it's
or you do something?
part of my work. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So what are you by profession? What
So at this point, so for like 10 years, I wrote articles
writer? Okay.
for lots of different websites on diabetes. And for some of that, I was raising kids full time at home. So I wasn't working full time for some of that, but I
Okay.
was always writing articles. And then, articles started to be old news and people want video. And I worked full time for Beyond Type 1 as a content creator. And then I've worked for a couple other diabetes organizations since. And now I run my own diabetes company. So we've got Diabetes Nerd, which is the content you see. That's me talking about diabetes through the
Okay.
podcast and YouTube and social media. And then we have Diabetes Nerd Marketing Agency. My best friend and I develop content to help other companies market their diabetes related services or even recruiting for a clinical trial, for example. And then we have the Diabetes Nerd Network. So go to diabetesnerdnetwork.com and you can join. And we just launched it. We're still kind of developing our system there. But it's to stay in the loop on diabetes research, which you can do through all these things I just described.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing everything. Tell me a little bit about the healthcare system. You know, when I was younger, I had no idea that you have countries where people have to buy insulin. That was crazy for me because I live in Europe and insulin's free here. Like that was the scariest thing I heard, especially when I read the story about some woman that like started using cheaper insulin because she was saving money for something I don't remember and it didn't work and her
Hmm.
A1C was horrible and it was just horrible to read.
Yeah.
So how would you describe, because you know, United States have a good healthcare system regarding professionals, regarding medical institutions. But what about these things I'm talking about? What about if somebody loses their job suddenly?
Yeah. It's
How can
really,
they afford
it's
their
scary.
insulin? That's
For
so
several, I
scary for
mean,
me.
a thing that you might not know is so when you, up until you're like 20, early 20s, and sometimes earlier, you can stay on your parents' health insurance until a certain age, basically until you're like halfway through college.
Okay.
And I got booted from my parents' health insurance when I was 22, and I was working full time as a personal trainer and writing for diabetes websites, but
So you
I
had a job and you couldn't be at your parents, right?
Yeah, it wasn't it's
If you
about
have a
your
job,
age. It's
oh,
about
okay.
your age that boots
They
you, not
only
your job.
see the age, not if you work
It's
or
the
not.
age. Yep. And
Okay.
but my employer for personal training did not offer health insurance. And, I'm writing articles for different websites. I'm not full time. So I had no health insurance for several years. And I had to make do by, thankfully, through connections and really amazing friends. I got a lot of test strips from a woman that came to my gym that worked for Abbott. So she had tons of Libre test strips and she would give me extras anytime she could. And then I would buy discounted test strips on Amazon back in the day when that was a thing. I don't know if it's a thing now. And I would try to get them for 50 cents or less per strip. So I was always like hustling to find the best deal. And then a friend of mine, she was able to stay on her parents' insurance and she had two parents with two different insurances that she was on both. So she had tons of insulin and she would give me her extra insulin. She was a lifesaver. And then every winter I volunteered as a counselor at this weekend long camp for teenagers with type 1. And my nurse practitioner is the nurse practitioner that supported me as a kid with type 1. And so she knew I didn't have insurance. So she would give me all the leftover insulin from camp. And that is how I made do. And I never went without. A few times, I'm sure I paid full
I love
price.
how many
Uh,
good people in your life you
yeah,
met and
you
had.
know,
I really love
good.
this.
Yeah.
Like it's so. I mean, you seem like a positive person, but also like this is such a good experience of people who helped you.
Yeah. And
But
you
okay,
create
if
that. right? Like I just
If
want to
I
point out to
understood you
people.
well, like
Yeah.
if I go, like hypothetically, I'm in
Yeah.
America, I'm looking for a job. The first thing I need to do is ask, do you cover my diabetes?
Do you
Does health
provide health insurance?
do you
Yeah.
provide health
So
insurance?
now I'm self-employed, so I get insurance through the marketplace, basically the Affordable Care Act that Obama created. But last year, politicians voted against adding additional funding to the Affordable Care Act. So
Yeah.
my insurance now costs 4 times the amount it did.
Oh,
And
I'm so
it's
sorry about
really the problem in this country, to sum it up, is that there's too many people that make a lot of money from the healthcare, from the health insurance industry in this country. And those people can give bajillions of dollars to the people that run for president. And so they're never going to
that.
abolish, right? They're never going to abolish our healthcare system for something that's funded by the country because there's too many people making billions of dollars off our current health insurance system.
Yeah, it's very scary, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's very scary for somebody to think, I can't live a month without a job unless I pay my own
Yeah.
money. It's very
Yeah.
scary. And it's something you need every day. Like it's
Yeah.
not,
And I'll tell
it's
you,
not like, oh, I'm gonna use it now, I'm gonna be better. You have to use it every day for the
nope.
rest of your life.
No.
Like,
Yeah. And we see the headlines where people who are forced to ration their insulin, right? To
yeah,
take less than
that's
they
the
need.
story.
Yeah.
The,
And I have a friend who did that for a few years. He chose paying his rent over taking full doses of insulin because he didn't want to be homeless, right?
yeah,
And he survived that, fortunately, and he has insurance now. But that's really scary. And oh, what was I just gonna say? Oh, the result of not having insurance turns turned me into kind of a insulin hoarder. Like when the pharmacy says, "Do you want us to fill that?" Even if I have a bag full of insulin, I
give
always say
me,
yes.
give me
Yep.
everything,
I have a whole
just
extra
in
fridge
case.
that's just full of insulin. It doesn't, I will always take it because I've gone without.
Okay, I can understand that. Not in
Yeah.
that way, but yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Uh, what about mental health? How connected is that to diabetes? I have to ask you, I watched your YouTube stories, your YouTube podcasts, and actually one of them was very significant, I would say. Actually, all of them are significant, but what struck me the most was the one where you talk about your ex relationship that was abusive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you said I would wake up in the middle of the night and my sugar would be 250 and I would do nothing, like I would just
Oh,
leave
from
it.
my burnout. Yeah.
Yes, because I wanted to care less. I
Mm-hmm.
really, I just, I was so sad to just read that, to hear that, not read
Mm.
that, to hear that. And why do you think that is? And how would you say, because I think that's a very important topic. We don't talk about mental health at all in general in many countries.
Mm.
Like, and I would assume that maybe in US you do go to therapies. You mentioned something about trauma coach. I know she's not a psychiatrist, but you
Yeah, and
mentioned
it
her.
wasn't for diabetes, right?
Yeah, but just
Yeah.
to heal your trauma.
Yeah.
Would you say that people with diabetes should go to some kind of therapy if they are feeling overburned? Would you
Yeah, it's
think that would
hard
help them?
because yes, I think if you're so, but the thing is, you don't want to just go to any therapist because if you just go to some random therapist, then you have to teach them about why type 1 diabetes is so hard. And so I would really look for therapists that know type 1 because it's such a unique burden, right? And it's so
Yeah,
stressful in such a big way. And a typical therapist might start lecturing me or might not understand why recovering from my emotionally abusive relationship led me to feeling really apathetic about a blood sugar that's 250 in the middle of the night,
yeah.
right? But if you go to someone like, I'm going to list off a couple I can think off my head. So Dr. Beth Braun, she's lived with type 1 for like 40 or 50 years. And I think her website is drbethbraun.com. Braun is spelled Braun, but you can find her.
Okay.
She also wrote the foreword for my book, Every Day with Diabetes. So you can see her name on that too. If you go to someone like her, she's going to know why the
Why
stress
you
of
feel the
recovering
way
from
you
that.
feel?
Yeah, she's gonna get it. That type 1 takes so much energy. Another is Dr. Mark Heyman, the diabetes psychologist. You can find him on Instagram and elsewhere. He's lived with type 1 forever. And he's a psychologist, right? We need special support. We really do, because the
Yeah,
burden of our chronic illness is unlike most other types of mental health challenges.
yeah, I
So,
agree.
yeah, and I do think that we need, if you're really struggling with like beating yourself up for not having perfect numbers, or, but also like in my case, something else in my life was really stressful and it was sucking away from the energy that I had to give to my type 1, right? So I didn't need a diabetes psychologist. I needed someone to help me with my trauma, like you
You
described.
needed to get rid of the toxic person.
Oh, yeah, that was step one. That was hard. Yeah.
But do you think other people how important do you think people in our life are to manage diabetes? And I'm not talking about
Mm,
just partner, I'm talking about everybody, like your family, your friends, your co-workers.
yeah.
You described so many positive experience, but you also, like we just mentioned, you had a really bad one.
Yeah.
Do you think people around you affect how you treat yourself?
Yeah, I think it also, going back to when you said you have so many wonderful people in your life, you have to let those people in by opening up. So the person that actually knows the most about my type 1 is my best friend, and she doesn't have type 1. But if I had like a terrible day and it was like, or my site failed and I was 300, I'm like, oh, I'm stuck at the first person I'm gonna tell, besides my boyfriend, I've only known him for about 7 months. So he's learned a lot about type 1, but he doesn't know nearly as much as Tara, my bestie, right? She's the first person that I go to like express frustration or like, look at what just happened. Because I know that she knows how I like talking about diabetes. I know
Mhm.
she isn't gonna, and I have lots of type 1s in my cell phone I could text also that I know will respond supportively, but no one knows my diabetes as well as she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have to let those people in. So if you don't have any friends that are really supportive of your diabetes, I'd say you haven't done the work to let them in and let them learn by opening up and talking about it and involving them in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I would also add that maybe you should talk about diabetes, but also not be like, oh, everything's bad because I have it. Just be like, oh, this is what I have. It's like that, that, that. And, we can go from there. Because
Yeah.
there
And
are some people who use it as an excuse to be victims. I,
absolutely.
I've met
Yes.
many people like that. And honestly, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like when people are aggressive with it. Like you need to be straightforward, say what it is and how it is, but you don't have to attack others. You mentioned at the beginning of the video that there's so many people with so many other problems. Like
Yeah.
your problem is not the only one.
No, life is not easy for anyone.
No, absolutely not. Like
Yeah.
everybody
And
has
some
their own
days type 1 is hardly the most stressful thing in my day. You know what I mean? Like, but I do
I
I do
understand
think
you.
yes, because you have twin boys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
daily stress all the time.
Yes. I mean, I didn't start feeling true anxiety on a regular basis till I became a mother. And my kids are
Uh,
wonderful and I love them.
Honestly, me too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know how, maybe I had it before, but I just didn't recognize it. It wasn't that extreme,
Wasn't as
but
constant, maybe. Yeah.
maybe, yeah. But since I have kids, I feel that anxiety. I
Yeah, and you
really,
have
really do.
twins. You have
Yeah.
twins, Mama. Give yourself some credit because that's hard. I'm a twin,
I give
actually.
myself credit, but I don't give myself breaks. That I think
No.
that
And it's
that's the
hard
problem.
because you can't give yourself breaks. You have to
I
build
know.
them in. Like you have to build in a buffer in a way that you're still parenting, but I think sometimes how I calm my anxiety is I play movies in the background while I'm cooking or cleaning. And for me, that is like a good distraction for my brain that's soothing and relaxing while I'm doing the work of managing kids. And my kids are very used to it. They know Mama loves having a movie on in the background. And I'll turn the screen black so that they can't watch it if we're trying to like clean their
So
room
you
or
just listen,
whatever.
right?
Yep, so we're just listening. And it takes my mind off my to-do list and it helps me calm down. Now, my boyfriend thinks that's really weird. He doesn't need that. I don't know what he does to manage his stress. But also, speaking of boyfriend, like when you're trying to let someone in to support your diabetes, you also need to teach them what support looks like. So the first day that I gave my boyfriend access to my CGM on his phone, he texted me in the middle of the day and was like, "You're low. Are you treating that?" And I was like, "Whoa, bud. Let me tell
Calm
you.
down, buddy.
Yep, I appreciate the concern, but I'm awake, right? I'm on it during the day. Now, if the low alarm is going off in the middle of the night and I'm asleep, you have total freedom to wake me up and be like, do something about this, right? But I'm awake. I know I'm low. I got the alerts too. So I don't want to hear from you about that. And now he knows that that is a boundary, right?
I love that you have such a good experience now after what you've been through. I'm so happy. It's like a rainbow, right? After the rain. Is that the
You
expression?
got to do the work though. Yeah, you got to do the
I
work.
agree.
Yeah.
Can you, because we're already close to the end, it's been almost 30 minutes, I think. Can you just quickly tell us how your day looks like regarding your
Mm.
food, exercise? You said
Yeah.
you love to exercise. You go for walks. I saw you have many dogs.
I now have four dogs because my boyfriend brought two. So yeah, one is a bit of a fatty and he can't go on the exercise with me. I take him on his own separate walk because he's recovering from a spinal thing. But every morning, and somewhere in here, I'm bringing my kids to camp or to school, summer camp or school, But every morning, I really start with walking the dogs and I'll walk them for 2 or 3 miles. And then I do my own cardio, which is usually jumping rope. Sometimes if I'm taking them to a trail where I know it's also a really good cardio workout for me, like there's this one trail that's just 40 minutes straight uphill, I don't need to jump rope after that. So I get my cardio and they get their dog walk all at the same time. But I basically spend every morning exercising for at least an hour and a half, and I have not eaten breakfast. So I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. I have a video about this on my YouTube channel.
I
I do
haven't
it.
seen that, but I will.
Yeah. In that video, I'm on injections and long-acting insulin, but I do the exact same thing now that I'm on a pump. Exact same thing every morning. I just have to prepare my insulin on board in a different way. I don't usually eat my first meal until 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and it's usually fruit and fat. So
So you
like an apple
exercise
and
and you eat
yeah.
only at like 1, 2 afternoon, right? That's what you said.
I don't eat my first meal until 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I
Okay.
don't, but I don't go low during an hour and a half, 2 hours of exercise because I'm, making sure that I don't have too much insulin on board. And I teach you that in my book. I teach you that on
I will
YouTube
look
as
up your
well.
books.
Yeah. The exercise book is only 100 pages long. It's really easy to read and it really teaches you some critical parts of how to figure out if your insulin doses are accurate before you even start exercising.
Okay. And
Yeah.
after that,
And then after that, I'm working during the day. If it's not 90 degrees out, I would take my dogs for a second walk in the afternoon. And if I have insulin on board, I might have some extra carbs, or I would time the walk for exactly after I eat, and I would cut back on the dose of my lunch bolus, right? So that I know I won't go low on that 1 or 2 mile walk. And then some days I add in strength training. I can't do powerlifting like I used to. I have some joint issues that developed from that, but I do about 15 or 20 minutes of strength training a few times a week, either in the morning or again later in the evening. And I also love paddle boarding, and I'll do that after work. And then dinner is usually, so lucky me, my boyfriend loves to cook. So I can't
oh,
even tell you
lucky
the
you.
last time I cooked dinner. I can't even tell you. It's been 7 months of not cooking dinner so far. And because he just wants to do it. I will like go to the store and buy extra
Just let him.
vegetables.
Just let him
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah, I do. I do. He loves it, and I still have to cook for my kids here and there, but I don't cook dinners anymore for everybody, which is such a treat. I feel so spoiled every night. Um, so it's meat and vegetables, and then I save plenty of room in the end of the day for dessert. And I exercise enough that I can eat dessert nearly every night and not gain weight because I'm very active. So that could be ice cream, chocolate. It's never diet food. I do not eat any fake sugars. I don't drink any fake sugars. I just try to eat real food.
So when it's cheating, it's cheating, right? Like every day, every night, you eat something sweet. It's
Yeah, and
for
it's
your
part of
own.
my plan. It's part of my plan, right? So, and it's high quality stuff. It's not, every now and then I might eat my kids' Hershey's chocolate or whatever, but I would rather the really good quality chocolate. I would rather make cookies at home. I spend a lot of money on good food for sure. And
I'm
we go
glad
out
to
to
hear
eat.
that.
We go out to eat all the time. I'll get a burger, I'll get pizza. Not every night. You know what I mean? There's
No,
got to
I
be
understand.
balance.
Like
Yeah.
there are limits, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for being our guest. I think people will hear so many useful information from you, and they can always check your Instagram page. They can see your YouTube. Like I said, you have so many things I found interesting, and I'm sure many others will too. So thank you again for being our guest.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Okay, and for the rest of you, take care of your health and see you in the next episode.